So you're in Florida for a few days. Everybody, listen, everybody listening to this has heard the old phrase, telephone, telegram, tell a wrestler. So I'm sure the phones are lighting up.
Oh God.
I don't think text messaging was what it is now. It certainly existed, but I'm sure everybody's calling and voicemails and text messages and emails, and everybody wants to know what's going to happen, because all of a sudden, you know, well, we just hit the iceberg. We're the Titanic and we don't know. Do we jump off the ship now? How do we find a soft spot to land? Is there panic amongst your wrestling comrades?
Guys like Shannon Moore, sort of the younger guys. I'm just trying to think that whatever name, it just popped in my brain, but sort of the younger guys, they were definitely coming to me because they knew I sort of knew what that machine looked like up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just like, and I'm like, I have no idea what this is going to look like. And you know, you may have a report there that may jar another memory, but the end all be all important question was, what does Nitro and Thunder look like moving forward? Like what is the answer to those kind of questions of all ongoing content creation?
So that weekend, you didn't know those shows were canceled yet. You assumed Vince owns them, but now Vince is going to run Nitro and Thunder.
It was up in the air, but yes. But again, I'm going back to, I could not imagine 12-year-old Jeff, 11-year-old Jeff, TBS 605, add Thunder, add Nitro, but still TBS had wrestling. Andy Griffith, Atlanta Braves, and professional wrestling. I couldn't fathom a Turner without wrestling.
Do you remember there being anyone in particular? And you said you just named Shannon Moore just off the top of your head. Were there guys like Rick Steiner or someone else who says, well, that's it, because I ain't going back to work there. I've made my money. I'm going to go, as JR would say, learn a new hold, but I'm going to close the chapter on wrestling in my life. Do you remember anybody in the locker room having that sort of attitude, whether it was wound up shaking out to be the case or not? Do you remember somebody thinking that and saying it out loud?
No, no one saying that out loud. I don't think they would have. Maybe that's my brain thing. I damn sure don't think they would have said it around me. I think everybody was walking on wait and see, pins and needles. Oh boy, you know, very, very, you know, closed lip, poker face.
They're waiting on the other shoe to drop. How's this going to look?
Yeah, how's this going to look? As we get into it, I can remember the day of that Monday, the vibe backstage, not from the wrestlers, and we can get into that too, but from the production, the props, who I'd become very friends with, marketing and production, and I mean Keith Mitchell and the folks that, you know, just, and I don't know if now's the time, but just that vibe of people that weren't on camera, I can remember their tone. The heaviness was there.
Well, and you know, it's fun that we're talking about that, because a few weeks ago, or maybe months ago at this point, somebody tweeted out that WCW recently had a reunion of sorts. Not the people we saw on camera every week, but the people who worked in the office. Because when WCW went down, a lot of really good, hardworking people who helped make the magic that we all loved, but were never in front of the camera, they lost their jobs, and they were their own little family, because, you know, they'd worked together forever and ever. And everyone listening to that has, I shouldn't say everyone, a lot of people listening to this have their own work family. Lord knows I do. And so you get used to seeing those people oftentimes more often than you see your actual family, and you spend more time with them, certainly. So when that thing goes down, there's more to the story than just, you know, the Buff Bagwells and the Lex Lugers and the Jeff Jarretts. There's the people who had been punching the clock and doing their job every single day for years and years and years, and they weren't big TV stars, and they lost their gig. That's a sad deal.
Huge. And because I had the great perspective to not only with my family's promotion, but working for Vince. At the end of the day, you didn't even have to give it a half a heartbeat on where can we go get the answer. At WCW, a lot of guys you just referenced, they succeeded in spite of the corporate environment, in spite of all these challenges, in spite of trying to appearance that they just hang up or wouldn't answer or not show up or be an hour late. So in challenging times, when you do have that nucleus of people, whether, Moses was a carpenter or not, I mean, he was a production, and the cameraman, Jackie Crockett, and I mean, just all the different props, and the Ellis was there. I mean, you name it. There was one big family that in a lot of ways, I don't want to say is us versus them, because it was office versus talent, but they succeeded and had fun and lived life in spite of very challenging times. And we flew down to Club La Vila and Panama City Beach with a job. We're going home without one. It was really cut and dried. And those guys, cameramen, guess what? They've got cameramen in Stanford. Oh, we run lights. Oh, they've got lights, and they knew they were out of a job. There was nothing was up for discussion.
The show was not actually at Club La Vila, but you guys were still hanging out at Club La Vila.
I'm messing with you. Yes. What was the name of the hotel it was at?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though. I really wanted to circle down on the way you felt personally. So, you had seen the Dallas territory die. You had seen the Memphis territory die. And you had walked out on Vince McMahon under difficult circumstances. We talked about it last week. We know at this point, ECW has circled the drain. They ran their last pay-per-view in January. So at this point, realistically, you've got to be thinking, I've got to go work for Vince, or I've got to go to Japan, or I've got to do what my dad did and start his own territory. But some of that may have been a little easier because, and I don't know, I'm asking here for the first time. Did you have a WCW contract, or did you have a Turner contract? Because if you had one of those big money Turner contracts, as we all famously know that Sting and Goldberg and Kevin Nash and all those guys had, even if this thing goes down, I'm getting paid for a while. Now, you just said that wasn't exactly your thinking. You were thinking he's going to keep Nitro going and he's going to keep Thunder going. But did you also think, well, even if he doesn't, I've got a contract, I'm going to be fine income wise?
I can assure you, I called my attorney at the time, was Atlanta based. Well, he is now too, but it's a different attorney. You can assure you that I made the call. Now, I just want to be crystal clear. Yes, Jeff, you're going to get paid through, I think it was November, because it took a bit, because I left in October. My contract, even back to 93, was always rolled over sometime in October. I think because I came and it took maybe 6, 8, maybe, I don't know, 10 weeks. I knew I was getting paid at least basically through the end of the year. And that was the reality. I was not going to miss a paycheck through the end of the year. So that definitely gave me comfort.
So you make the jump in October of 99. It took a few weeks to get your deal done. We'll call it the end of November. And it was a 2-year deal. So if you execute it in late November 99, it'll be late November 01 before the check stopped coming.
Yes. And that gave me definitely, it gave me comfort without question.